Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Ministers, Your Excellency, Honorable William Ruto, PhD, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to this ceremony where we shall witness some shining examples of India-Kenya bilateral cooperation. These are by the way of exchange of 5 memorandums of understanding followed by press statements by our 2 leaders. First, the exchange of documents. First, we shall witness the exchange of Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of the Republic of Kenya and the Government of Republic of India on cooperation in sports. From the Kenyan side, His Excellency Mr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Minister of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of Kenya, and from the Indian side, Dr. S. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs. Thank you, sir. Next, we have the exchange of Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of Republic of India and the Government of Republic of Kenya on cooperation in the field of sharing successful digital solutions implemented at population scale for digital transformation. From the Kenyan side, again, His Excellency Mr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Minister for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of Kenya, and from the Indian side, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, Minister of Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology. Next, we have the cultural exchange program between the Government of Republic of India and the Government of Republic of Kenya for period 2023-27. From the Kenyan side, may I request His Excellency Mr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Minister for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of Canada, and from the Indian side, Shri G. Kishan Reddy, Minister of Culture, Tourism and Development of Northeastern Region. Thank you, sir. We next have the exchange of memorandums of understanding between the Bureau of Indian Standard and the Kenyan Bureau of Standards. From the Kenyan side, Her Excellency Ms. Rebecca Miano, Cabinet Secretary for the Investment, Trade and Industry, and from the Indian side, Shri Pramod Kumar Tiwari, Director General, Bureau of Indian Standards, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. And last but not the least, we have the exchange of Memorandum of Understanding between IGNU and the Open University of Kenya. From the Kenyan side, Dr. Beatrice Iangala, Permanent Secretary for Higher Education of Kenya, and from the Indian side, Professor Nageshwar Rao, Vice Chancellor, IGNU. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the exchange ceremony. I now request the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs to conduct the remainder of the proceedings.
Honorable leaders, honorable ministers, members of both delegations, friends from the media, we will now have the press statement by the leaders. May I now request Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to make his statement.
Your Excellency राष्ट्रपति विलियम रूटो, दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स, मीडिया के साथियों, नमस्कार। राष्ट्रपति रूटो और उनके डेलीगेशन का भारत में स्वागत करते हुए मुझे बहुत प्रसन्नता हो रही है। मुझे खुशी है कि अफ्रीकन यूनियन के G20 में शामिल होने के कुछ समय बाद उनकी ये यात्रा हो रही है। भारत की विदेश नीति में अफ्रीका को हमेशा उच्च प्राथमिकता का स्थान दिया गया है। पिछले लगभग एक दशक में हमने मिशन मोड में अफ्रीका के साथ अपना सहयोग बढ़ाया है। मुझे विश्वास है कि राष्ट्रपति रूटो की यात्रा से हमारे द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के साथ साथ पूरे अफ्रीका महाद्वीप के साथ हमारे एंगेजमेंट को नया बल मिलेगा। फ्रेंड्स, इस वर्ष हम भारत और केन्या के डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस की 60वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं, किंतु हमारे संबंधों का हजारों वर्ष पुराना इतिहास है। मुंबई और मोम्बासा को आपस में जोड़ता हुआ विशाल हिंद महासागर हमारे प्राचीन संबंधों का साक्षी रहा है। इस मजबूत नींव पर हम सदियों से साथ मिलकर आगे बढ़ते रहे हैं। पिछली सदी में हमने मिलकर उपनिवेशवाद का विरोध किया। भारत और केन्या ऐसे देश हैं जिनका अतीत भी साझा है और भविष्य भी। फ्रेंड्स, एक प्रगतिशील भविष्य की नींव रखते हुए आज हमने सभी क्षेत्रों में अपना सहयोग सुदृढ़ करने पर विचार किया और कई नए इनिशिएटिव्स की पहचान भी की। भारत और केन्या के बीच आपसी व्यापार और निवेश में लगातार प्रगति हो रही है। हमारे आर्थिक सहयोग के पूरे पोटेंशियल को रियलाइज करने के लिए हम नए अवसरों की तलाश जारी रखेंगे। भारत केन्या के लिए एक विश्वसनीय और प्रतिबद्ध डेवलपमेंट पार्टनर रहा है। आईटेक तथा आईसीसीआर स्कॉलरशिप के माध्यम से भारत के केन्या के लोगों की स्किल डेवलपमेंट और कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दिया है। दो कृषि प्रधान अर्थव्यवस्थाओं के रूप में हमने अपने अनुभव साझा करने पर सहमति जताई। केन्या के कृषि क्षेत्र का आधुनिकीकरण करने के लिए हमने $250 मिलियन की लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट प्रदान करने का भी निर्णय लिया है। आधुनिक समय की जरूरतों के अनुसार हम टेक्नोलॉजी और इनोवेशन में अपना सहयोग बढ़ा रहे हैं। डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में भारत की उपलब्धियों को केन्या के साथ साझा करने के लिए हम पूरी तरह से तैयार हैं। इस महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर आज किए जा रहे समझौते से हमारे प्रयासों को बल मिलेगा। क्लीन एनर्जी दोनों ही देशों की मुख्य प्राथमिकता है। केन्या द्वारा लिया गया अफ्रीका क्लाइमेट समिट का इनिशिएटिव एक बहुत ही सराहनीय कदम है। यह राष्ट्रपति रूटो की भी सभी वैश्विक चुनौतियों का एकजुट होकर सामना करने की प्रतिबद्धता को दर्शाता है। मुझे खुशी है कि केन्या के ने ग्लोबल बायोफ्यूल अलायंस और इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस से जुड़ने का निर्णय लिया है। साथ ही केन्या द्वारा लिए गए इंटरनेशनल बिग कैट अलायंस से जुड़ने के निर्णय से हम बिग कैट्स के संरक्षण के लिए वैश्विक प्रयासों को सशक्त कर सकेंगे। रक्षा के क्षेत्र में हमारा बढ़ता सहयोग हमारे गहरे आपसी विश्वास और समान हितों का प्रतीक है। आज की चर्चा में हमने मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइज कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के साथ साथ दोनों देशों के रक्षा उद्योगों को भी आपस में जोड़ने पर बल दिया। हमने स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी को जन कल्याण के लिए इस्तेमाल करने पर भी विचार विमर्श किया। इस महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र में हम भारत के सफल अनुभव को केन्या के साथ साझा करने पर सहमत हुए। इसी प्रतिबद्धता और मित्रता का भाव हम सभी क्षेत्रों में अपना सहयोग बढ़ाने के लिए अपने प्रयत्न जारी रखेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, आज की बैठक में हमने नई वैश्विक एवं क्षेत्रीय मुद्दों पर चर्चा की। हिंद महासागर से जुड़े हुए देशों के रूप में मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी, पायरेसी और ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग हमारी साझा प्राथमिकता के विषय हैं। इस महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र में आपसी सहयोग को मजबूत करने के लिए हम मैरीटाइम कोऑपरेशन पर जॉइंट विजन स्टेटमेंट जारी कर रहे हैं। कीनिया और भारत का करीबी सहयोग इंडो पैसिफिक, उसमें हमारे सभी प्रयासों को बल देगा। भारत और कीनिया एकमत है कि आतंकवाद मानवता के लिए सबसे गंभीर चुनौती है। इस संबंध में हमने काउंटर टेररिज्म के क्षेत्र में आपसी सहयोग को बढ़ाने का निर्णय लिया है। फ्रेंड्स, कीनिया को अपना दूसरा घर मानने वाले लगभग 80,000 भारतीय मूल के लोग हमारे संबंधों की सबसे बड़ी ताकत है। उनकी देखरेख के लिए, कीनिया से मिल रहे सहयोग के लिए मैं राष्ट्रपति रूटो का व्यक्तिगत रूप से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आज किए जा रहे कल्चरल एक्सचेंज एग्रीमेंट से हमारी आपसी नजदीकियां और बढ़ेगी। कीनिया के लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस और मैराथन रनर्स विश्व विख्यात है। उसी तरह क्रिकेट भी दोनों देशों में लोकप्रिय है। दोनों देशों में खेलों के क्षेत्र में आपसी सहयोग को मजबूत करने के लिए एक महत्वपूर्ण समझौते पर सहमति बनी है। बॉलीवुड के साथ साथ योग और आयुर्वेद की पॉपुलैरिटी भी केन्या में बढ़ रही है। हम दोनों देशों के बीच पीपल टू पीपल टाइज और गहरे करने के प्रयास जारी रखेंगे। एक्सेलेंसी, एक बार फिर आपका और आपके डेलीगेशन का भारत में बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. May I now request Honorable President of Kenya to make his statement. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Prime Minister Modi, distinguished officials, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first take this opportunity on behalf of my delegation and I to thank my brother Prime Minister Modi for inviting me and for the excellent reception that we have received and hospitality extended to us while in this beautiful city of Delhi. I confirm we have had an extensive conversation and engagement on all the issues that are of mutual significance and importance between our two countries. I have congratulated Prime Minister Modi for successfully hosting the G20 and for successfully championing the cause of the African people, the 1.4 billion people in our continent, that today, because of Prime Minister Modi's engagement and championship, the African Union is now a member of the G20. I have also congratulated Prime Minister Modi for his leadership in the Global South and for summoning us in the Global South to the Voice of the Global South Summit that I was privileged to attend virtually. As has been said, we share a common heritage and we share a common history, connected by many years of relationship. The first Indians to come to Kenya came in 1911. That is more than a century ago. And up to today, they have participated in Kenya in many fields, in finance, in business, in farming, in agriculture, in health. And we want to commend and thank the Indian community that came to Kenya. And because they have become part and parcel of our nation, I want to report to you that in 2017, all the Indian nationals that are in Kenya were made Kenyan citizens. Today, Kenya is no longer their second home. Kenya is their first home. And we celebrate them because they are a great people, and they have created a bridge between Kenya and India. Because of that relationship, we have had a long history of collaboration, and today, in my visit, we have consolidated that relationship and expanded the scope of engagement between our governments. As was said ably by the Prime Minister, in the space of agriculture, we have agreed on how Kenya Dairy Board and the National Dairy Board of India will collaborate, especially in the areas of vaccines and vaccine manufacture, in the space of genetics, and also in the space of manufacture of agricultural products. We have also discussed how the National Agricultural and Rural Bank of India will work with our Agricultural Finance Corporation in the space of assisting farmers with credit so that we can deal with the challenges of food security, especially growing food in the Republic of Kenya. We've also agreed on the space of health. Many Kenyans come to India for health services. We have agreed that we are going to enhance the relationship between our health professionals in Kenya. We're going to reduce the bureaucracy required for Indian specialists to come to Kenya and share their knowledge, expertise, and experience with their Kenyan counterparts. And we have requested the government of India to consider making the entry for short courses of Kenyan professionals, nurses, clinical officers, and doctors to come here for short courses of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, much more easy, so that we can leverage on the great experience that India has developed in the health space. And because as Kenya, we have committed under our bottom-up economic transformation that health is going to be one space, we want to share the experience of India. I benefited from Prime Minister Modi's example of what he is doing to people at the bottom of the pyramid, using clear interventions on areas of ensuring that those at the bottom of the pyramid have access to health. And I have assured him that we are doing the same in Kenya. We have now community health promoters in every village. We have 100,000 community health promoters across the country. And we are going to learn from India how they have made health affordable, especially for those at the bottom of the economic pyramid. We have also agreed on how we are going to leverage on the MOU that we have signed, especially in the space of technology and public digital infrastructure, so that Kenya can benefit from, especially on e-health, digitizing and using technology in telemedicine and telehealth. As we professionalize and as we digitize our health space in Kenya, we're going to learn from the experience of India so that we don't repeat the unnecessary lessons that have already been learned, and we can piggyback on their success and work together. And I am very happy that we now have an MOU that is going to provide us with a scope for capacity building between our two sectors, especially professionals in Kenya, learning from their counterparts in India. I thank you, Prime Minister, for the consideration of the $250 million for supporting Kenya in the space of agricultural mechanization and the whole space of vaccines and other interventions. I want to assure you that we will immediately embark on programs that have already been agreed on so that we can leverage on this facility to provide the much needed services for the people of Kenya. This facility is going a long way in delivering our commitment to the people of Kenya, especially in the space of health and food security, as we deal with the challenges of cost of living, ensuring that we produce enough food using mechanization to get our food security situation dealt with. I also agree with you, Prime Minister, that we will be looking at avenues of what to do with rice production and the whole space in our plan on how to take this forward. I have also assured Prime Minister Modi that 70% of health commodities in Kenya have their origin in India, and we appreciate the partnership and the support. And we have discussed how we can begin to manufacture some of these commodities in Kenya, not just for the Kenyan market, but for the East African and the African market. And it will be mutually beneficial for companies, Indian companies, to do this in Nairobi or to do this in Kenya, because it will benefit them and we will give them access to the African market using the infrastructure that we have already built under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I confirm that India has been immensely useful to Kenya, especially in the marine space. I have thanked Prime Minister Modi for the support of India in the research and documentation of resources in the Indian Ocean that are related and relevant to Kenya. We already have maps, we already have documentation that we are going to use for our marine and blue economy exploitation in Kenya, thanks to the government of India. And we look at what we can do more to deal with piracy, to deal with terrorism, and to deal with all the other activities in our shared waters in the Indian Ocean. Terrorism is a big issue both for Kenya and India, and we've agreed that our defense forces will work together in collaboration, sharing information, sharing experience, sharing knowledge and intelligence to make sure that we deal with the challenge of terrorism. I have explained to Prime Minister Modi about our situation in East Africa, the challenges we have of security in Sudan, in DRC Congo, in Somalia, and we are going to work together to see how we can stabilize and secure that region for the mutual benefit of the people living in the global south. I have also shared with him our experience, especially in the delivery of affordable housing, and learning from the great experience in this country on delivery of affordable housing, working on slum upgrading, and ensuring that citizens have decent households and live in dignity, that we are carrying out the same in Kenya, following in the example of India, to make sure that our citizens live in dignified, affordable dwellings. Finally, Kenya has joined the Alliance of Biofuels and also the Solar Alliance as we tap into our renewable assets in Kenya. I have told Prime Minister Modi that Kenya has 92% of its grid as green, and we are well underway in being a hub for green manufacturing and green industrialization, and we will want to share in the experience of India and some of their manufacturing capabilities that require green energy can have a safe place in Kenya. In conclusion, let me say I am truly immensely grateful to Prime Minister Modi, the government, and the people of India for the courtesies extended to us, for what we have managed to achieve with this visit, and I am very confident that we have consolidated and solidified our relationship, and that we are looking and focusing on a greater future for both the people of India and the people of Kenya. Finally, I have asked Prime Minister Modi to consider giving us a small place where we can put up a chancery and we can put up a residence for our ambassador, and he has graciously told me that he will consider it positively, because we are not about to go anywhere. We are going to be in India for the long haul, and we want a permanent residence here, because that is the nature of our relationship. Again, Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. That concludes the press statements. Thank you all for joining us. Please remain seated while the dignitaries leave the stage.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Ministers.
Excellency, that concludes the press statements. Thank you all for joining us. Please remain seated while the dignitaries leave the stage.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Ministers. Your Excellency, Honorable William Ruto, PhD, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests,